Hello and welcome to episode 9 in this video series covering a wide range of ways in which teachers and educators can support students with online learning using tools, techniques and web-based tools to help maximize student engagement. My name's Justin from the Tech Train channel, and in today's tutorial I'm going to be focusing on online tools that you can use for formative assessment. Now, of course, as soon as we mention formative assessment and online tests, student engagement and enthusiasm seems perhaps a long way away. However, it is possible to deliver tests and assessments that can inform you how students are doing with particular topics by doing things in a fun way. So I'm going to cover 3 tools with you today, and in fact none of them are Kahoot. Probably already familiar with Kahoot, in which case you'll know that does deliver on the promise of enthusiasm and engagement with students. But I'm looking at tools which take inspiration from Kahoot but deliver it in a way which is more accessible for students at home, delivers better information and data for you as a teacher, and I think generally works better for distance learning. So let's have a little look at some of the tools that I've selected to show you. Links, by the way, for all of these will be in the description below. So the first one I'm going to cover you may possibly be familiar with. It's quizzes.com with 3 Z's. I like this and I use this a lot in my own classroom, and I think it works well for distance learning as well. It has a lot of quizzes that you can find from other teachers, so it is a kind of a community site in that sense. But to be honest, you probably want to make your own quizzes by and large, because you'll know your students, you'll know what they have learned so far, and you'll know your syllabus and your exam board and so forth. Creating quizzes is really straightforward, and the benefit of delivering these quizzes is that if you are in a normal classroom environment and not currently locked down as we are now, they're fun quizzes for students to do, not in the same way as Kahoot, which I think has a problem in as much as everybody's doing it at exactly the same time, exactly the same question at exactly the same time, with great big coloured panels on the screen, making it very easy in IT rooms for students to see which panel other students are clicking. With quizzes, it's done more by your own time, so students can answer the questions at whatever pace they want to. There is still huge competition between students with a public leaderboard, and I think it just works a little bit better. But it also works well if you're delivering it remotely for students to work through these quizzes in their own time. Let me start by showing you how to create a quiz very simply. So having logged into Quizzes, which is totally free, all the resources I'm showing you are completely free, I'm going to click here, create a new quiz. So now we can name this quiz, and you can select the appropriate subject from this. So let's have a look. I think computing is in there, information technology. Let's choose that one. It's not too important really. It's more for how other people are going to find your quiz. And there we are. We've created a quiz demo. We can add an image if we want to at the top. And now we can choose to add questions. So you have different types of question here. The traditional multiple choice checkbox where you have multiple correct answers. Fill in the blank is quite good, where you can have a sentence and one word is missing, they have to type that in. I would probably not use poll or open-ended for this type of quiz. They're more for classroom-based activity rather than for remote teaching. So if you were to choose something like multiple choice, we can write our question here. So what is the binary value of 1101 in decimal? And there we are, question. And then you can put through your answers. So we might have 9, we might have 11, 13 and 15, like that. And obviously you're going to choose which of these is the correct answer. So in this case 13, so I tick that answer. And you can also choose how long students have to answer that question. It is a timed quiz, so the timer will tick down, and basically a little bit like Kahoot, the score you get is dependent upon how quickly you answer the question. So the faster you answer the question, the more score you will get. The lowest amount of time you can give is 5 seconds. That's obviously quite fast. The highest is actually 15 minutes. So that means if you're wanting them to work out long, complicated equations or something else, they have time to do that. So it is interesting that you have that much time. Clearly in the classroom situation, it's unlikely that you would do that. But I think 15 minutes might be appropriate if you were wanting them to do some research or perhaps do a more complicated series of calculations at home. So once you've chosen the amount of time, let's go for the default 30 seconds there, we can click save, and that's it, we have our first question. And then we can save that quiz if we want to. I'm going to come out of that quiz and go to My Quizzes. I have a couple of quizzes already set up. Let's go to this cybersecurity quiz here. And we can carry on editing it if we want to. So we can go into edit. This has 50 questions in this quiz. And if we wanted to see how this would look from the student's point of view, I'll click on practice and play, and you'll see what the students will see. And this will more or less be the same whether they're in a classroom situation or at home. Some settings that you can choose here, obviously memes, definitely I think students like that. A timer makes it quite fun. And power-ups, if they have a running streak of correct answers, that can boost them up with some extra points. Let's click play. And there we are, we have our countdown 3, 2, 1, and then we have our first question. So these questions, by the way, are randomized, so the order of them has been randomized as well. So even in a classroom situation, students aren't going to see the same question at the same time necessarily. You can see at the top there we have a countdown timer, so the score is reducing the longer it takes me to answer the question. So if I click on the answer there for that question, we get a green sign that says we're right. We get a quick meme, and then you can see we've got a leaderboard there, and we can see how we're doing against other students. Next question's automatically started, so we can have a look at this. Standalone malware computer program replicates itself. Not spread often. Yeah. Okay. So let's go for the. Let's just stop that and come out of that quiz. So let's go back into this. There we are, so My Quizzes. So you can see that from the student's point of view, whether it's in a classroom or at home, you've got the leaderboard, you've got memes, you've got a bit of music, you've got that timer, you've got big scores. I think it's 1,000 points or something per correct answer. So it's quite a fun quiz. I found students really enjoying this, even in those classes sometimes where you've got those 1 or 2 students that are just totally unengaged with, disengaged rather, with the content of the course. They're still enjoying it, and they still enjoy that challenge, which is really good. So if we wanted to have students access this remotely from home, then this is what we could do. Once we've created our quiz, we'll go into that quiz there, and it will assign this as a homework. So if I click assign HW, homework, we can choose what date they should do this quiz by. We have some options down here, so we can allow the student to access this an unlimited number of times if we want, and some other ones here, so the power-ups, obviously, the leaderboard. If you don't want them to see the leaderboard, then you can turn that off. Sorry, my mouse is just sticking to the desk there. So you can turn that off if you want to. Shuffle questions, I had that switched on. I think that's quite good, but that's up to you. Shuffle the answers so the answers don't appear in the same order. I like those kind of options in a classroom environment because it does mean if you've got an IT room with computers right next to each other, students that their gaze towards other people's computers is not going to be very helpful. Redemption questions, so if they do get some questions wrong at the end, they get a chance to redo some of those questions they got them wrong. And you've even got the option there for the type of meme that they see. So some options in there to choose from. Once you're happy with those options, you can click host game, and that now gives you the option to either give them the code so they can go to joinmyquiz.com and enter that code, or even easier, I think, is just to click on that link, and you can share that link to Google Classroom or whatever other method you want to use to get that out to your students. You will see the response, so you can see down here I have this assigned section. So I will see the accuracy, I'll see the individual students' attempts on this, and when I'm ready to end the game, I can click end game up here. So I think that's a really good, or you can download the responses as well. So once they've all done that, you can download that as, I think it's a CSV, so a spreadsheet file. And then when you're back into the school situation, you can then go through those responses and do whatever you feel is appropriate. Or of course, being formative assessment, you might find that results of this quiz mean that you need to develop different resources for delivering remote lessons later on. So that's quizzes.com. That's my first recommendation. The second one, I really like this one, GymKit. It's one I only came across quite recently, actually, and I'm a big fan already. It's got the benefits of Kahoot. However, you can do it remotely. And it also, with Kahoot, the only real thing that they get is a score. Well, any quiz is going to give you a score. Yes, there's a leaderboard, but other than cheesy music, big bright colours, a score, and everyone working at the same pace, that's it, really. With GymKit, the students earn money. Not real money, virtual money, but they earn dollars as they answer questions. They get dollars for answering questions correctly. They lose dollars for answering questions incorrectly, and they can use those dollars in a kind of virtual quiz shop, buying power-ups, buying abilities. So it could be, for example, that they decide that instead of getting $3 for every correct answer, they'll get $5 for every correct answer. Or perhaps they'll buy some insurance. So if they get a question wrong, they only lose 10% of what they would normally lose. So little things like that. GymKit, I think, claim that there are 100,000 different possible combinations of power-up abilities. So students can balance the game towards the way they feel they would perform best. So if students think they're really confident with a quiz, they may perhaps buy those power-ups that will boost what they earn. Those students who feel a little less confident might buy those power-ups that reduce the penalty for getting questions wrong. So here's how we create it then. So we're in GymKit, again, completely free, but there is a paid upgrade. Rather than having it as quizzes, they've used the word kits, which means quiz. I don't know why they've used that word. That's just simply the quiz there, really. So if we click on kits there, we can click new kit over here. We'll give it a name. So we'll just call this demo 1. Choose the language, of course. The subject is chosen when you sign up. So when you sign up, you choose that you're a teacher or educator. You choose the grade and you choose your main subject. I'm assuming that you can change that subject. Yes, you can. So if you need to change it at this point, you can do. Click next. Choose the picture that you want to. So let's search for binary. Let's just choose a code quiz there. And that's it. So we've created the kit or quiz. Now we can add the questions. So we click plus question. And then let's say, what is the binary value 0111 in decimal? Now, in this case, you can add audio and you can add photographs for this if you wish. The first answer is always the correct one, but they will shuffle the order of that. Otherwise, of course, that would be fairly easy. So we'll put the correct answer in as 7. I'll then put in some other answers, 5, 9, and 11. There we go. And click add. And that's it. We've added that first question. And we can carry on adding questions. Let's go back. I'm going to finish that kit and go to the one that I made earlier on, this binary to decimal. I think I've put about 3 or 4 questions in this one. So let's see first of all how this would work in a classroom situation, and then I'll show you how to deliver that same experience remotely. So if I click, once I've got the quiz done or the kit done there, on the right hand side we've got the play button. I click on that and we can choose the kind of quiz that we're going to do. So you got boss battles, team modes. I would tend to stick with classic here. Different ways in which we can do this. You would in a classroom situation have these choices. There's really only one choice for remotely doing it though. Time, so you got 10 minutes or whatever, and it's the student that's earned the most amount of money in that time. Race, you got $1 million out there and it's the first student to earn $1 million. And all in, you got $20 million on the table. You can change that amount, of course. And then once all that money has been allotted, it's been portioned out to people, the game's over and the winner is the person with the most amount of money, and various other options down here as well. You've got power-ups, so as I say, that's what they can buy in the shop. Clean power-ups, so there are power-ups that allow students to penalise other students. So if you don't want that, enable this option for clean power-ups. And then you can click continue and start the quiz. So you can see that the way it looks is very much like Kahoot. So they would type in that code, join, and away the quiz goes. So that's how you do it in a classroom situation. What about doing that remotely though? How does that work? Well, on the left-hand side, you would head to assignments. So assignments is something which I think is added later on with GymKit, and this is perfect for our current situation. So to do this, I would click new assignment. I can now choose the kit or quiz from here. Let's choose binary to decimal. I then choose the date I want this completed by. Let's choose the 16th of April. There we are. If you've got classes built in, you can choose that, but probably wouldn't bother too much. And then we can set the target. So what is the target amount of money they need to earn? This will vary depending on how many questions you have, of course. If you've got, as I have, 4 questions, then it's going to keep asking those same 4 questions until they've earned, in this case, £500,000. Now, if you've got 50 questions, then yes, they can probably earn £500,000 quite easily just by going through all 50 questions. If you've got fewer questions than that, you could perhaps reduce the target cash and say just 10,000 or 1,000 or whatever you want. And then you've got the maximum amount of time available. If you don't want it to be too pressured on time, you can say, well, it's an hour, 2 hours, whatever. So there we are, that's the assignment. Let's click create assignment. There we go. And you see we have this link here now, which I can click copy link and copy that and email it out to people. I can also click this button and share it on Google Classroom. And so those students will then be able to see that quiz. Now let's show you what it would look like from their point of view. I'll go to an incognito and run it that way so that I'm not logged into the website. So there's no need for students to be logged in. They can simply click on the link. There they are. I would encourage them to type their real name in so that you know who they are, of course. So click their name and click join. So there we are. To complete this assignment, you must earn £500,000. Click begin. There's no timer on this at the moment that they can see, so there's no pressure of time. And like Kahoot, you've got those 4 big coloured answers. So what's the binary value of 1001? Let's put the correct answer in here. So we'll put in 9, and you can see that I've earned $1 for that. And I've got the option for shop, and I've got continue. I'll click continue for now. So here's another question. What's the binary value? 1111 in decimal. So we'll choose the correct answer again. So in this case, 15. So we've got a bit of a streak going on. So I've earned $3 now for each correct question that I get in this winning streak. Let's click shop and have a look at that, shall we now? So I've got $4 in total. So I can click on shop and see what is available to me now. So various categories, I can go to the money per question. So how much money could I earn? Now I haven't got enough money for that yet. That costs $10 and I've only got $4. So I'd have to answer a few more questions before I can do that. But that increases how much money I earn per question. And you see there are various ranks on that. We've got streak bonus. So if I get several questions right, what is the extra bonus that I get? Multiplier, you've got that, and also insurance. So if you get questions wrong, then you get some money back, so you don't lose quite as much each time. There we go. And if I go back, so if I just click back on the quiz, there we are, go back to questions, do the wrong answer for this one. So let's choose 9 for this one. So you can see if I get a wrong answer, the balance goes down, I lose money. And the idea then is obviously to have a balance of, in this case, £500,000 by the time 20 minutes is up. So I really like that. I think it's quite engaging. I think students will enjoy that challenge. So that's something which I would strongly recommend. And I think once this whole coronavirus situation is over, and if you're watching this video after it's all over, then fantastic. I think it's something that you might well find is useful in a classroom situation as well. And of course, any resources you make now can still be used then. So let's have a look at the third option now as well, which is slightly different to the other two. So it's nothing like that kind of quiz. Basically, it's a way of taking videos and turning them into a kind of formative assessment. Now, in a classroom situation, if you were to play a video, you probably wouldn't play a 10 or 15-minute video right the way through. You'd probably stop it every now and then and just ask some questions. Make sure the students are engaged with it, check they understand it, see what they've learned so far. So because you do that in a classroom situation, there's no reason why you wouldn't want to still do that if you're delivering that video remotely. So how can you do that? Well, that's exactly what Edpuzzle is all about. So with Edpuzzle, you can choose a video that's available on, say, a YouTube platform, and you can then identify certain points in that video where you want to ask a question. You identify the point, you choose the question, you write your own question out, give the options if you want it to be multiple choice or just have them type in the question. And when the students play the video through your link through Edpuzzle, they'll watch the video, and when it gets to that question, the video will freeze. And they can't proceed until they've answered the question. So the question appears next to the video. They have to enter the answer to that question. If they don't know it, there's a recap button, which they can go back over the last segment of that video, watch it again, and then answer the question. And then once they've answered the question, it will give them a button that allows them to continue with the video. And you can put as many questions as you want inside your video. And all the responses to those questions will then get sent to you, so you can see how they've done. Let's see how we do that here in Edpuzzle. So first of all, I'm going to find a video. So I'm going to click on YouTube, and I'm going to search in here for how to convert decimal to binary, and we'll look at my favorite channel. There we are. So we'll go to the Tech Train channel, click on that video, and we can recap that and have a look through if we want to. Now, if we want to put the questions in, we have to click this edit button at the bottom here. So I'm going to click on edit. I can cut the video, so if you wanted to trim a video down to just one part of it, you can do that right here. So we can just simply cut this in from the left or the right so that we've shown just the part of the video we want to use. If you want to add a voiceover, then you can actually add your own speech over the top of a video. So that will delete the audio that's in the video now and replace it with your own video, your own audio, if that's what you want to do. And this tab here, questions, is where you can start to add questions. So what I'm going to do is skip ahead. I must admit, the one thing I don't like so much about this is that the progress bar along the bottom, or the play bar, is almost invisible. I've got a good quality monitor here and I can't see it. It's completely invisible to me. I don't know whether you can see it. This little black dot here is obviously part way along that. Now I want to skip ahead to about 2 minutes and 4 seconds. So if I just play.
So what does this have to do with?
Okay, I'll just skip past. I just want to get to a particular point here.
Each time we move one place to the left, we multiply again by 10.
And I'll pause the video there. So I've paused the video. At this point, I'd want to ask a question. So on the right-hand side, I will choose a question. Now you have two question types and also a third option here. Multiple choice, obviously. Open-ended question. Again, fairly obvious. Note, if you want to add a note, audio or written comment, then you can do that. So if you wanted to explain something to students, to say, okay, at this point, I just want you to think back. Do you remember about this? We did this in class. Remember that? Or open your books, have a look at this. Or don't forget this fact. Then you can add those comments in at that point, just as you would interrupt a video perhaps in class. Let's do open-ended question. I'm going to type in here. So we'll say, how many digits are used in decimal? So there's my question, and I'll click save. There we go. And you can have those questions as complex as you like. They're not going to be automatically marked. You'll be receiving these for your own feedback. So then we can carry on, and we can carry on through the video, stopping it, adding. There we are, adding more questions as and when we want. When we're happy with that, we can click finish and that will be saved. So now if we want to give this to the students, we can click the assign button at the bottom right here. So I'll click assign. You can see that we have various options. Prevent skipping. So that's an option I would choose so that students have to answer the question. If you have that switched off, then they will be able to skip a question, which means that basically they can just watch the video and not respond to it at all. You probably don't want that. So that's something which I would suggest. You've got the public link there. Excuse me. So you can choose that link. So we'll copy that link there, send that link to your students. And if we were to have a look at this from the student's point of view, so if I just run this, now I'm not going to go through the whole video, I will just skip ahead to just before where that question appears, which is about there. So I'm going to play the video now and you'll see how that question pops up automatically in about 2 minutes and 3 seconds.
Is that with base 10, we have 10 digits, and so each time we move one place to the left, we multiply again by 10.
And you see there the video pauses automatically, and now I've got the option to enter my answer over here. So the question appears on the right hand side. You'll see that there is no play button at all. I can't just play the video on from this point. I have to enter my answer. So if we put the answer in there, 10, then we can click submit. If you want to re-watch the video, you can go back and that'll, as I say, rewind to the last question or the last stopping point, and you can watch that bit again. And once you're happy, you can click submit. That submits the answer. You will, as a teacher, then see those answers, and from the student's point of view, the video will then resume.
So what does this have to do with binary?
There you go. So that's that. So those 3 websites I think are fantastic. They're all very different. Obviously the first 2 are fun quizzes, but they're very, very different in the way they approach that. And the third one I think is a really good way of doing something a bit more useful with videos. Just sending out YouTube videos is fine, but I think you want to do more with them, and I think Edpuzzle does offer that. So if any of those 3 websites that you've seen are ones that perhaps you've not come across before, or you think that they would be useful for you, that'd be fantastic. Just put a comment below, let me know which ones you think you might be using. If you have any suggestions yourself of other tools that you might consider using or you are using for remote formative assessment, then do, again, leave them in the comments below so we can share these ideas with people. If you know other teachers that would benefit from this video, then please share this video with them as well. Spread the message so that they have that same advantage. If you liked the video and found it useful, it would be wonderful if you could hit that like button. It does genuinely make a difference to the channel, so click the like button before you go. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well, so that as new videos, there's one more video to come in this series, and there are other videos planned as well with other useful resources that you might enjoy. Then if you click subscribe, you'll know when those go live. Don't forget to click the notification bell and then you'll be notified as well. So thank you very much indeed for watching. There is one more video in this series, number 10. I'm going to be looking at something that surprisingly a lot of teachers don't realize you can do. If you use Google Docs as part of Google Classroom or just standalone, you already know that you can leave comments for students and create a comment thread, and that's a really, really good facility. But did you know that you can also leave video and audio comments as well? I'm going to show you a way of doing that very easily, so you can leave audio comments for students and video comments for students, as well as having a built-in comments bank that will save you hours of typing and writing when you're giving that feedback to students. So that's what I'm going to cover in the next video, so look out for that one, and until then, thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.